I'm Mark Menghi.
And I'm David Ellefson. We are here with Metal Allegiance with Horns Up Rocks.
Days here, the Metal Allegiance is releasing their new album. One of the best things I think with the Metal Allegiance is that you guys could have done a covers album, but you did an original album that's very kick-ass. So when we talk about all the behind the scenes that went into getting all this army of metal musicians together to do this.
A lot of behind the scenes.
we have Mark here, the creator of Metal Allegiance. We have David Ellefson from Megadeth, and there's so many players here today, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's been unbelievable. I think next week would make a year that we did our first show as Metal Allegiance. And at that point in time, we had no idea. We just went out to do a show, have some fun, and that was it. And then on that boat, it was Motorhead's motorboat cruise. It was like, I remember we were circling an island, and I go to Dave. I'm like, where the fuck are we, man? He's like, dude, that's Cuba. I'll never forget that. And then literally a few minutes later, it's just like this idea of writing a record came together. And here we are, a year later, releasing the record, which is crazy to think about. So it's pretty awesome.
And what made you want to work with him, get involved in this huge project? It's nothing small. We have pretty much all the mega metal masters here today.
So here's the history of Mark. So Tim Ripper Owens introduced me to Mark at Winter NAMM 2010. I was just finishing up a couple of shows with Mike Portnoy, ironically, doing in another group that I had at the time called Hail. And we did only cover stuff. And it was kind of a little bit of a similar thing. So Mark and I meet. And he says, hey, I want to start working with you on, some kind of Samson thing. He worked for Samson and Harkey at the time. Literally a week later, I call Mark up. I said, guess what? I'm back in Megadeth. And I need some Harkey product. And Mark worked with the Harkey. And he goes, listen, man, in Megadeth or not in Megadeth, you're my friend. I support you either way, And I tell you, that was our allegiance right there. That was really a defining.
It's been love ever since.
Yeah, it was cool. And then from there, all of a sudden, all this big stuff started happening. Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, the Jägermeister tour, the Big Four. Megadeth was doing Rust in Peace 20th anniversary. So just huge stuff. And Mark saw a vision of like, man, I need to get my brands at the time part of that. And he put together the David Ellefson, Frank Bello bass clinics, 2 bass players doing it. And there's a couple friends of ours over in the jazz world that do that, Steve Bailey and Victor Wooten, very renowned jazz artists. So I kind of took, mirrored what they did in the jazz world and took it over to our bass community. And Mark just pushed it out. One day he goes, I want to do a new thing called Metal Masters. And I'm going to bring in Mike Portnoy and Charlie Benante. And we did it the night before the Indio Big Four show. And fast forward a couple years, these things kept growing, and as life moves on, Mark transitioned out of that position at Samson. And last year, it was last summer, he was going to the beach, and I just said to him, I said, man, we shouldn't let this whole concept of all of us being together go. I said, you've done the hardest part, which is getting everybody together. That's the hardest part of this. And Mark had that, just through goodwill that he had spread through the metal community, and he had everybody. So he calls me up a couple days later. He goes, dude, I just trademarked Metal Allegiance, and we're going to go. And I said, awesome. Okay, I tell you what, Winter NAMM, and we were thinking forward to January 2015. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Megadeth was going to be on the motorboat, and we were one of the headliners on it. And all of a sudden, Megadeth had pulled out of it, and the promoter called me. He goes, dude, what am I going to do? We're a month out. I can't get a headliner. Can you call Slayer? And I said, Slayer's making a record. And I said, wait a minute, hang on. I think, hold on, I'll call you right back. We got a thing called Metal Allegiance. We're going to launch it in 3 months, but if we can pull it together, I think we can do it. I literally called Mark, said, dude, we're up to bat, right? We went down the checklist of who was going to be on the boat, and it was all of us, And I said, dude, we're up. Call our agent, Mike, and let's make it happen. And literally within 10 minutes, we were on motorboat like that. And it was great because I felt as an ambassador for the Megadeth fans who had come in from all around the world. Because, when you buy tickets for a boat, it ain't like going to Ticketmaster where you can just get your money back, if the show cancels. I mean, it's a serious commitment. So I felt like it was a really an awesome way to launch this. It had a lot of goodwill, taking care of those fans who had bought tickets to the boat, and couldn't get refunds and bought plane fare and hotels, and so I felt, it was just the whole thing was born out of really goodwill for the entire community.
It was born out of friendship too, man. We're all, never mind we wrote a record and we're doing all this shit here tonight, but at least Mike, Dave, and myself we were just friends. I mean, and at that time, this whole thing was never even a thought in anyone's head, especially my head. I mean, if you would have asked me a year ago today, you're going to be playing Best Buy Theater, Times Square, New York City, big record release show, Monte Carlo's going to sign you, it's going to be on I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. But it's crazy, but it stemmed from the loyalty we have to each other, and that's why this works, and it's fun, and I'm appreciative and humbled by Dave and Mike and Alex allowing me to be a part of it on a creative. No one knows me. No one knows that I play music or write music. So it's definitely humbling and therapeutic for me, and I'm looking forward to everything.
And great tracks from what I heard so far. They're great tracks, because sometimes you know what to expect, but they're good songs. They're great songs. And how was the selective process where you had like a song in mind? You're like, oh, maybe Anselmo would be great for this one. Maybe Randy will be great for this one. Or how did it work out?
As we were writing this, it was literally 4 dudes in a room. There was no label. There was, like I said earlier, there was nothing. It was 4 guys in a room just going, what could we do? And the chemistry was so great. We were going to do half covers, half original. We really didn't know what we were going to do. But it was like, boom, there's a song. We're writing another song. Then there's another song. Dying Song came together. We were sitting on a couch, very similar to this. I was just sitting back with a bass in the hand, literally just like this, tinkering around. Dave had it was where he is with a guitar, tinkering around. Dying Song born, literally in 10 minutes, done. And then when we wrote that, we didn't know who was going to sing it at the time. I heard a whole different concept in my mind. Then we heard Phil Anselmo's voice in our head, and the rest is history. So it's pretty cool, especially the way these songs turned up. Gift of Pain, when we wrote that, we kind of knew. We heard Randy. I remember in the studio, like, man, Randy's got to fucking sing the song. Same thing with Can't Kill a Devil, Pledge. We wanted Mark Osagata on that. We wanted the people that's been involved with us on this record. Chuck has had a history with us. Mark has. Obviously, Philip since day one with Metal Masters. So, and that fine-looking gentleman who just came out, Mike Portnoy. But, we wanted those people that's been with us for a while on this, and it was important to have those guys because of the loyalty, the allegiance, the friendship, the bond that we have.
And it sends a great message. I mean, you said it kind of started with the Big Four. We sent a great message that all the bands are working together, even though, there was some talk back in the day that, hey, they don't get along with each other. But you proved by playing with each other, hey, we can do this. And this definitely proves that metal, more than ever, is united. It's what it is.
It's a strange business because this Metal Allegiance, we're all like the same kids who share the same record collection, who would all go hang out at each other's house and like jam to the same songs. And it's a weird business because it's very cutthroat, and a lot of people, I always found it strange where, sometimes people, I remember I had a guitar tech one time, it's a business and you got to think about the money. It's like, dude, if I start thinking about the money, the fun goes away and there's never enough money, and I think when, my view is it's like, you make it about the music, you make it about the fun, and suddenly your bills are paid and the goodwill that spreads out and fans pick up on it, and I think with what we're doing here, is, again, it's good friends making great music together. And to me, I think that once you lose that, it doesn't matter how famous your band gets, it doesn't matter, the gold and platinum records, you can be in a great band and just absolutely hate your gig, but getting along, that's tough. I mean, not just here in Metal Legions, but even with our own bands, because every one of us, have come up through the ranks with other, pretty iconic groups, and I think all of us would attest that, the hardest part is going through all those transitions of, I think sometimes when you're down in the trenches working the hardest is when it's the easiest. It's when the fame and the money and the accolades and people try to pull certain members apart. They try to divide and conquer, with your group, and I think all of us can attest that keeping it together is the hardest part, and I think for us to come to Metal Allegiance is kind of this playground we have where we don't have to worry about that. Everybody's somebody or you wouldn't even be in the room, So we're over that. We all know everybody can play, so we're over that. And so now it's kind of like you just walk in and go, I want one song you want to play. I want one song you want to play. And that really brings a really fun spirit, and I think it kind of helps everybody debrief and kind of decompress a little bit kind of from or even from our other gigs a little bit. It's the one where we can go, man, we can just show up and no pretenses and really just, get together for the fun of it. And I think the fans, most of all, it's for them. They pick up on it. We're fans making music for our fans.
Music people that love music, and as you said, everybody's united for the same cause. We all love metal, we all love music, and I want to congratulate you for putting this whole thing together. I want to congratulate you for bringing your friends with you and making it happen, because metal needs this more than ever. Everybody to work together and make something really special happening. And it's Metal Allegiance album. It's not just the show. Now you have an album for people to pick up. Make sure you check it out because it's a great album. And again, thank you guys.
Cool. No problem, man. Thank you.
Okay.